My name is Samantha Reed. I'm 33. And for as long as I can remember, I've been the family's invisible backbone, the quiet fixer, the one everyone leans on, the one whose life pauses while everyone else orbits around their own. My son Leo is 10, bright, stubborn, full of energy, and blissfully unaware of the calculations I make to keep life afloat for him. My family lives 20 minutes away, but distance never meant they cared. Saturday started like it always did. Blue streamers, a Costco sheet cake that read Leo Level 10 in blocky pixel font, and an inflatable soccer goal I'd borrowed from a neighbor. 6 of Leo's classmates came, their laughter bouncing off the curb, their shoes flung across the lawn. The air smelled of sunscreen and charcoal. I kept checking my phone. Mom had said, "We'll be there. Wouldn't miss it." My sister Courtney, of course. Aunt Coco would bring party favors. Brother Nate promised he'd swing by after the gym. Every 20 minutes, my thumb hovered over the group chat. Nothing. The pizza arrived. I asked the driver to wait, thinking maybe a line of cars would pull up. He looked at the tiny crowd and shrugged. "You're good," he said. 2 o'clock turned to 3. Sunlight shifted. The kids kicked off their shoes, took turns shooting at the goal. The neighbor across the street brought over an extra cooler. "Full house," she said. I smiled like a mask had been glued to my face. At 3:11 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Don't be dramatic," my mother wrote. "It's just a kid's party." I read it twice, hoping my brain had misread it. No, she meant it. Not running late, not happy birthday. Just that line. A slap. Leo jogged over, hair sticking to his forehead. "Mom, can we cut the cake? Can we sing?" "Of course," I said. We sang. He blew out the candles in one breath, grinning with frosting on his lip. I clapped like a fool, pretending I wasn't hollow inside. Then I stepped into the kitchen, knife in hand, just to breathe where no one could see. The screen door squeaked. A new message popped up. Courtney. "We'll catch the next one. Today's insane." Then a photo appeared from my mother. Brunch mimosas captioned, "Self-care, Saturday with my people." My sister's arm around her, my brother's tattooed arm, slung casually. I held the wet knife over the sink. Leo didn't notice the quiet rage, and maybe he shouldn't. I handed out plates, smiled, and didn't say a word about the empty chairs. Not one. When the last kid left, Leo and I built the spaceship he'd unwrapped. He didn't ask about Grandma, or Aunt Coco, or Nate. Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he already knew. At 8:04 p.m., after he fell asleep on the couch with a slice of pizza clutched like a crown, my phone pinged again. "Don't make a big deal, Samantha. He's 10. He'll barely remember." I stared at the ceiling. Something in me went cold. Anger? Sadness? Both. Hard to say. I didn't reply. I started counting chairs to return, cans to recycle, frosting scraped into the trash. I've always been the fixer, the one who remembers everyone's Wi-Fi password, tax deadlines, birthdays, allergies, favorite side dishes. When Courtney started her studio, I built the website, paid the first 6 months of hosting. "You'll get it back when I'm profitable," she said, breezy, like profit was a weather pattern. When Nate got a DUI at 25, I took a day off to sit with him at court. When Mom had the flu, I drove her to urgent care. When bills came due or loans needed covering, I was the first call, and I always paid. Leo was born, and I made a promise. He would never feel invisible at a party, never question if anyone cared, never be caught between adult selfishness and his own innocence. I would make it work. Somehow I always did. Meanwhile, my family's lives looked like a social media feed I could scroll forever. Brunches, trips, retreats, yoga classes, photo after photo of indulgent self-care. I asked Mom once if she wanted to do a weekly dinner with us. "Sweetie, my calendar's full. Next month," she said. Next month never came, but their phone notifications did. Little green bubbles of emergency favor, requests, and, "Can you fix this?" By December, Mom sent a spreadsheet for holiday gifts. Names, items, prices, color-coded. "Split equally," she wrote. Equal meant me, because no one else offered. Every time I paid, I felt the familiar ache of giving too much to people who had no concept of gratitude. 2 days after Leo's party, I woke to another group text. "Mom," all caps, glitter emojis, "RSVP by Wednesday." My niece's sweet 16. $2,100 per person. Venmo me. I stared at it. My name listed as a sponsor. I hadn't agreed. Not asked. Just assumed. My stomach turned. I scrolled back through Saturday's messages looking for an apology. Nothing. I sent $1. $1. A note. Congratulations. That was it. Then I changed the locks. 10 minutes at the hardware store, a new deadbolt turned smooth. I blocked numbers. Not cruelty, not forever, just boundaries. Quiet. Leo asked for more broccoli at dinner, told me a joke about a banana in a library. I wiped chocolate from his lip and felt a strange sense of calm. He didn't need to know how ridiculous adults could be. He just needed me. 2 days before the Sweet 16, Mom tried the olive branch again. A mass text labeled apology. Not apology, press release. Family is complicated. Investments. Please support. Samantha has been under stress. Let's not push her. I read it once, put my phone down. I was tired. Tired of calculating, bending, forgiving. Something inside hardened. Not anger like fire, but like ice, clear and solid. That afternoon, I noticed the brass key to my house. Old, soft metal, symbolic of boundaries I had long allowed to bend. That afternoon, I bought a new one, turned it in the lock, heard it click, felt a small click in my chest too. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't invisible. 2 days after Leo's birthday, my phone erupted. Mom's message, all caps, glitter emojis, a PDF attached. RSVP by Wednesday. My niece's sweet 16, $2,100 per person. Venmo me. I stared at it like it would morph into something sane. My name, Samantha Reed, listed as a sponsor. I hadn't agreed. I hadn't even been asked. Just assumed. My eyes flicked to the attached photo. A tiara, orchids cascading from the ceiling, caviar bar, live gelato artist. A teenage dream turned corporate gala. And I was supposed to underwrite it. Courtney chimed in next. We're all in. OFC. Coco can't do less than premium. Also, group gift? Samantha, you coordinate. You're the spreadsheet person. I sat with my coffee, fingers hovering over the keyboard. I typed no, then deleted it. Not because I wasn't angry, I was, but because I needed clarity. Words skim the surface with them. They don't sink in unless tied to something heavy. I scrolled through past messages. Every request, every favor, every silent sacrifice I'd made for Courtney, Nate, Mom, paid website hosting, DUI court appearances, groceries, Christmas spreadsheets. Every time I said yes, the chorus rose. Family helps family. You're doing amazing, sweetie. To me, it was more like, spot me again. You'll pay for it. And I did. Always. Until now. I picked up my phone and opened Venmo. $1. Note. Congratulations. $1. One sentence. A mirror held up to absurdity. Then I called the hardware store and ordered new locks. The brass key Mom and Courtney had used for years now sat useless in their hands. 10 minutes later, the deadbolt clicked. Small victory. Quiet. Mine. The Sweet 16. Messages kept coming. Reminders, forwarded PDFs, links to seating charts, RSVPs, requests. We'll need you to cover Grandma's spot. She's on a fixed income. Assumption, default. My name was a wallet. Not even a note about Leo. Not a meme. Just an invoice I never agreed to. I could feel the weight of it all pressing in. Every hour of invisible labor, every dollar, every favor. And now, somehow, I was the villain for not bending again. By that evening, I had created a folder on my laptop. Receipts, boundaries. Columns. One for what I do, one for what they expect. Soccer fees, mine. Court filing fee for Nate, mine. Website hosting, mine. Costco cake, mine. $2,100 per person. Sweet 16, theirs. I printed the PDF with my sponsorship name and laid it beside my grocery list. I stared at it until the ink dried, until it made sense in a way no Venmo note could. Then I emailed the venue, requesting removal of my name. CCED management. Clear, firm, unemotional. The next morning, another wave. Mom. Samantha, you're quiet. Don't be difficult. Sweet 16 only happens once. Everything is an investment. Please support. I didn't respond. My finger hovered over the phone. Every time they tried to pull me back into the loop, I ignored it. Every demand was a test. Could I finally stop being the family's invisible ATM? Could I finally say no without guilt? Leo noticed the change in his own way. When I told him we weren't checking Mom's messages that day, he shrugged and went back to Lego. He didn't need to understand the financial absurdity. He just needed a mom who could be calm in chaos. By evening, I had drafted an internal monologue for myself, a script to remember. You are not the problem. You are not the villain. They will try to guilt you. They will manipulate you. You are the protector. You are the parent. You are allowed to be tired. Courtney's next message: don't make everything about Leo. I stared at it. A decade of invisible labor, of picking up broken pieces, and they said this. My pulse quickened, but I stayed still. I responded with one line, typed slow. You didn't come to the birthday of your own nephew. You sent a bill for a teenager I see twice a year. You put my name as a sponsor without asking. Here's my answer: no. Before they could retaliate further, I sent Venmo $1 again. Note: congratulations. The next step was simple but terrifying. I blocked Mom, Courtney, Nate. Not forever. Not maliciously. Just until the storm passed. Until I could think. Until Leo could be safe from their chaos. That night, I watched him fall asleep with a slice of pizza in his hand, frosting on his lip. The house was quiet. For the first time, the air felt lighter. I wasn't the invisible one anymore. Not for a day. Not for a single hour. And yet, in the shadows of my calm, I knew this was only the beginning. The sweet 16 was looming. My family would not give up. Their sense of entitlement was a storm I could see on the horizon, and this time I wouldn't bend. 2 days after the sweet 16 messages, there was a knock at the door. Firm, official. My chest tightened. I peeked through the peephole and saw 2 officers. Morning, the taller one said. He looked like a man who had seen enough domestic storms to know how ridiculous some calls could be. What's the call about? I asked, keeping my voice calm. Family member reported concerns. Said you were making threats, holding property, and requested a welfare check for a minor at this address, he said. I swallowed. 3 accusations in one breath. Paint me unstable. Accuse me of theft. Weaponize concern for my own child. Efficient. Come in, I said. Leo watched from the couch, half cartoon, half eye on the door. The officers stepped inside, scanning politely. I moved us to the kitchen, keeping Leo in peripheral view. Years of being the responsible one made me host even while being inspected. This is about your family? The shorter officer asked. I nodded. They didn't come to Leo's birthday, I said. They demanded I pay thousands for a sweet 16 I never agreed to. I changed the locks. I blocked their numbers. That's it. I slid my phone across the counter, evidence folder open. Screenshots, Venmo transactions, emails to the venue, sponsor page with my name. Every detail of their entitlement laid bare. The officers listened, nodding, reading. Questions. Any weapons? Only butter knives, I said. Lego swords, they smirked. Court orders? No custody issues. Leo is with me. The taller officer's eyes flicked to the macaroni necklaces on the counter. Property? He asked. I blinked. If she means the spare house key, I changed the locks yesterday. I can provide the old one if it clarifies. They exchanged glances, shook their heads, a hint of humor crossing their faces. The system, efficient as ever. Panic, call the authorities, check on the child, document, report no danger. Paper trails help, the shorter officer said. If anyone shows up who won't leave, call us. Don't engage. They left. Sunlight fell across my kitchen. Weak, clear, like the flu after it breaks. 10 minutes later, a response pinged from the venue. My name removed. Screenshots attached. One thread cut clean. I exhaled, letting my shoulders drop an inch. Boundaries, finally respected. Then came the messages, Aunt Nora, unknown number. I heard, I'm sorry, they're furious. You did the right thing. Courtney posted on social media about toxic energy and people who can't be happy for others. She didn't use my name. She didn't need to. Everyone knew. Mom left a voicemail on the landline I barely use. You're not well. Family doesn't do this. You embarrassed us. Her voice shook with the combination of anger and hurt. I held the phone away. I had already decided. No further justification. No more explanations. Leo noticed the quiet in his own way. "Are we mad at Grandma?" he asked. "We're disappointed," I said carefully. "Taking a break. Time out. Like grown-ups who forgot how to be kind." Kids understand faster than adults. He nodded and returned to his Lego, unconcerned with the storms that rage in adult hearts. The next week was a study in contrasts, the chaos of my family versus the calm of my own home. No furniture moved, no unexpected calls, no demands, just the soft hum of daily life and the steady reassurance of boundaries. By Thursday, a card arrived in the mail. "Dear Leo, happy birthday. Sorry we couldn't come." $2 taped inside. His grin held the weight of treasure found, the innocence adults often squander. I took a picture, sent it to no one, and felt something open in my chest that wasn't anger, space, relief. A small victory, untainted. And still, beneath it all, I knew this line I'd drawn wasn't just a boundary. It was a statement. A refusal to be invisible. A refusal to fund their entitlement with my life and my son's childhood. Some battles are quiet. Some are loud. Some, like this one, echo in the heart long after the doors click shut and the storm passes. I had drawn the line, and this time I would not step back. The week after the police visit, our house felt different. Not bigger, not smaller, just lighter. The air had room to breathe. No surprise knocks. No flashing notifications demanding money or apologies that weren't apologies. Leo noticed in small ways. He lined up his action figures on the coffee table with more care than usual, whispered strategies for their battles, and asked me questions that didn't involve family drama. "Mom, can we bake cookies for the neighbor?" He didn't ask about Grandma or Aunt Courtney. He didn't need to. He already knew the answer. We didn't dwell on grown-up nonsense. I, too, felt a subtle shift. Years of invisible labor, the hosting, the paying, the fixing, no longer anchored me. I had finally separated myself from the automatic assumptions of my family. Venmo no longer defined me. Leo's laughter did. I even printed out a new calendar. Soccer camp deadlines, dentist appointments, scholarship forms. Stuff I had always done, yes, but now on my terms. The Sweet 16 remained a looming cloud. Courtney's social media erupted. Glitter emojis, countdowns, filtered photos, gold patrons. "We see you." My name glowed beneath it all, but I no longer felt invisible or responsible. I emailed the venue again. Formal, firm. Remove my name from all materials immediately. Copy to management. Screenshots attached. Corporate fear carried more weight than family entitlement. Then came the inevitable calls and texts. Mom, angry, pleading, accusing, apologizing, all at once. Courtney, furious. "You're ruining everything. It's a celebration." Nate, opportunistic, asking if I could cover the deposit. I ignored them, blocked them. Not forever, not cruelly, just until the storm passed, until I had regained control, until Leo was safe from the adult chaos. Even in their absence, subtle manipulations continued. Venmo requests disguised as casual notes. "Samantha, can you handle this? Quick favor." Each one a test of my resolve. Each one a reminder of the pattern I had refused to continue. I reinforced boundaries in small, deliberate ways. New locks for peace of mind. Separate email addresses for family communication, if any. A physical folder of receipts, notes, and evidence. A tactile reminder that accountability mattered. Leo, blissfully unaware of spreadsheets and Venmo, thrived in the quiet. Homework completed on time. Socks matched. Lego masterpieces displayed without critique. In the evenings, we took walks. Free throws at the park until the sky turned gold. Milkshakes on the way home. Stories at bedtime without interruptions. And yet, the story of entitlement lingered, a slow burn just beyond the calm. Courtney's posts glowed with curated perfection. Mom's texts veiled threats behind apologies. Every glance at my phone was a potential ambush. But I had learned the rhythm. Detach. Observe. Protect. It was in these quiet moments that I realized this wasn't just about money or parties. It was about respect, recognition, the right to parent my child without the constant weight of judgment or expectation. One night, after tucking Leo in, I sat at the kitchen table with a notebook. Column 1, what I do. Column 2, what they expect. Column 3, boundaries reinforced. Every entry a declaration. I will not fund their lifestyle. I will not sacrifice my child's peace. I will not disappear into the roles they assign me. Even as the sweet 16 approached, I knew the line I drew was unshakable. I would no longer be invisible. I would no longer pay for adult mistakes. My priorities were clear. Leo, our home, our calm. And if my family could not accept it, the responsibility was theirs, not mine. Foreshadowing whispered in the quiet. This was not the end. They would escalate. Courtney would try. Mom would manipulate. Nate might sneak another demand. But I was no longer unprepared. I had eyes open, locks changed, a folder of receipts, and a son who trusted me to protect him. In that week, the difference was stark. Their chaos continued online, filtered through stories and emojis. Our life was solid, ordinary, but ours. Simple dinners, Lego battles, laughter echoing in the living room. For the first time, I felt ownership of the calm, ownership of the childhood Leo deserved. And somewhere deep inside, I understood the real power of saying no. It was not anger, not vengeance. It was liberation. A line drawn in quiet, firm resolve. A lesson for Leo. The world may demand, manipulate, assume, but some things, like love and integrity, were non-negotiable. Weeks passed. The sweet 16 came and went without me, without Leo, and without my participation. Social media overflowed with photos, glittering dresses, sparkling chandeliers, stage smiles, gold patrons, smiling faces. My name, carefully scrubbed from all materials, no longer appeared. The event happened without me, and for the first time, it didn't matter. At home, the air smelled of dinner and vanilla candles instead of entitlement and expectation. Leo ran barefoot through the living room, laughter bouncing off walls. He didn't notice absence. He noticed attention, love, stability, the things I had fought silently to preserve. I realized something important. Boundaries were not about punishment. They were about survival, about teaching my son that his life and his peace mattered more than anyone else's assumptions or demands. Mom called once more, voice shaking, weaving hurt and anger together. I let it ring. Courtney sent a final string of messages, frantic and performative. Nate texted for favors that I ignored. Their voices, their manipulations, were distant echoes now, muffled by the solidity of my own choices. Evenings became our sanctuary. We baked cookies for the neighbors, rebuilt Lego worlds, and shot hoops in the park until the sun dipped behind the trees. Every laugh, every high five, every quiet conversation in bed with Leo reinforced what I already knew. Our life, our little world, was ours alone. I took a moment to reflect, pen in hand. Column 1, what I do. Column 2, what they expect. Column 3, boundaries reinforced. This simple act, once mechanical, had transformed into a ritual of empowerment. I could finally see the contours of my own life, drawn in clear lines of respect and intention. The story of entitlement, of emotional exploitation, hadn't vanished, but I had changed. I was no longer invisible, no longer the family's default organizer, financier, or fixer. I had taught myself and Leo the value of saying no. One quiet morning, I watched him build a spaceship from scraps of cardboard and imagination. He didn't look up, didn't ask about family drama, didn't need validation. He trusted that I was here, that we were safe, and that we mattered. That was enough. A subtle smile crept across my face. The years of silent labor, frustration, and compromise had led to this, a simple, ordinary piece that no invitation, invoice, or Instagram post could disrupt. I typed a final note to myself. We survived, we thrive, and nothing they say can undo the life we are building. And in that quiet victory, I understood the real lesson. Family might shape you, challenge you, and sometimes betray you, but the life you choose to build, the boundaries you set, and the love you give and protect are yours alone. The storm had passed, not with fireworks or grand confrontations, but with calm resolve. The locks were changed, the messages blocked, the lines drawn. And in that quiet, Leo's laughter echoed like a promise of a future untainted by their entitlement. I watched him sleep that night, chocolate smudges on his lips from an earlier snack. I wiped it away gently with my thumb, and for the first time in years, I felt unburdened. Free, strong, seen. Somewhere in the distance, my family's chaos continued. I could hear it faintly, like static on a faraway radio, but it no longer had the power to define me or my son. We had claimed our life, and nothing, no social expectation, no glittering party, no unpaid favor, could take that away.